This is Catherine Morgan-Nance with a review of differential analysis, which is one of the key methods managers use for making decisions about choices between two or more alternatives. Thanks for watching. This presentation is split into several parts for your convenience. Part 1 provides a brief review of the relevant costs and benefits. In Part 2, we will learn about what types of costs are relevant in a decision to drop a segment. In Part 3, we'll walk through the make or buy decision and talk some more about opportunity cost. Additional scenarios may be forthcoming in the future, but for now, these videos will provide you with a good foundation. You probably know that decision making is one of the basic functions of a manager. For example, managers must decide what products to sell, whether to make or buy a component in a vertically integrated company, whether to keep or divest a business segment, whether to accept special orders at special prices, and so forth. To be successful in decision making, managers must be able to tell the difference between relevant and irrelevant data and must be able to correctly use the relevant data in analyzing alternatives. You'll also see that managers employ a wide range of concepts, including contribution margin and sunk costs, in their decision making. The purpose of this video series is to introduce you to these concepts by illustrating their use in several examples. I think you'll agree that all decisions involve a choice between at least two alternatives. The most efficient approach, called differential analysis, is to compare only those costs and benefits that are relevant to the decision. Those are the costs and benefits that differ between the alternatives. By eliminating irrelevant information, managers can focus on the important numbers, avoid confusion, and minimize extra number crunching. As I mentioned a moment ago, to be relevant to a decision, a cost or a benefit should be one that varies between alternatives. You can tell if the cost is relevant because it will be eliminated if you choose one alternative instead of another. Other words that indicate a cost or benefit is relevant include differential, that means different, incremental, that means additional, or avoidable. For example, renting a show on Netflix lets you avoid the cost of a movie ticket along with the gas to get to the movie theater. Opportunity costs may also be relevant costs. Recall that an opportunity cost is the potential benefit given up when one alternative is selected over another. For example, an opportunity cost of traveling in Europe for a year may be the good job and wages you give up here. Opportunity costs are usually not found in the accounting records. And finally, costs that are relevant in one decision situation may not be relevant in another context. Thus, in each decision situation, the manager must examine the data at hand and isolate the relevant costs. You've learned that we pay attention to those costs and benefits that vary between alternatives because they are relevant. Likewise, we can ignore irrelevant amounts when making a decision because they're misleading and may cause us to make a poor decision. Two broad categories of costs are never relevant in any decision because they're unavoidable. First, future costs that do not differ between alternatives, and second, sunk costs which have already been incurred and cannot be avoided because you already spent the money. Remember that an avoidable cost is a cost that can be eliminated, in whole or in part, by choosing one alternative over another. Avoidable costs are relevant costs because they differ between alternatives, while unavoidable costs don't differ, are not eliminated, and are therefore irrelevant. Here are a couple examples of irrelevant cost. In the decision to go to the movies or rent a Netflix, your apartment rent is an unavoidable cost. In the same decision, if you plan to buy a pizza after the show, that's a future cost that does not change. A special situation is depreciation expense, which is often viewed as a sunk cost. Depreciation simply spreads the cost of an asset's purchase price over the asset's useful life. It's a non-cash expense that shouldn't make any difference in a decision. The asset's original cost itself is sunk. Likewise, an asset's book value or gain or loss on sale are also irrelevant because they are derivative of the purchase price or sale price, but not the cash itself. And as you've learned previously, common costs that are allocated to a product line or division are also irrelevant because they are unavoidable. To summarize, consider the following two approaches in your decision making. First, identify and focus only on relevant costs, also called avoidable cost, differential cost, or incremental costs. And focus on relevant benefits, also called differential benefits or incremental benefits. Second, ignore everything else, including sunk cost and future costs and benefits that do not differ between the alternatives. We'll continue our conversation in part 2 when we discuss whether we should keep or drop a segment. See you shortly.